Another day, another draft here on Splash Play as my dog knocks down a bone as the stream is starting. But you know what it means. It's time here to draft on drafters today. We got a ton of spots open, but I figure I'll start on time. We can do the theme of the video today, which is talking about rookies at ADP. So let's do that. Let me pick up the bone because, oh, God forbid we could start a stream professionally. Kitty the dog. This is what happens when your co-host is a dog. We got 7 spots left on drafters to do. Sign up right now if you want to get in and draft me today. Of course, promo code SPLASH on drafters, $100 deposit match. Every Tuesday and Thursday, I'm drafted at 4 p.m. On Fridays, too. Usually the last draft I do in my three-way drafting, my tri-drafthlon across Underdog, DraftKings, and drafters. So please feel free to draft along with me on drafters today. But rookies, I feel good about right now. We can talk about that briefly. And, no graphics here because I didn't plan to have to fucking do a monologue up top while I wait for room to fill, but that's the way it goes. Ted McMillan's number 1 right now. I feel like Ted McMillan to me ended up doing, and I have been doing him a lot lately, just maxing out the schnauzers, keep getting slow drafts for those. And it's been nice to do slow drafts. I've enjoyed having myself be able to be on the clock various times of the day. I've learned how to balance it, making sure to check it before bed every day, check it when you wake up kind of thing, which sounds like addiction when you say it out loud, but that's what slow drafting is. Ted McMillan's a guy I feel like whenever I take 2 RBs early and I'm in a particular spot in a draft, I feel like getting McMillan's been a thing that makes that receiver room feel better a lot of way when he's my wide receiver 2, sometimes wide receiver 3 in rooms. I'm a big Ted McMillan fan. I think that the camp hype's been good for him as well. The price for him as well, the fact that he's not going incredibly high. He's not going Marvin Harrison range, even though I think you're going to get a Marvin Harrison year out of him at the very least. Not that that's not necessarily what you want, but I believe a lot in Ted McMillan, so he's a rookie I feel good about. Genty, I take at ADP as well. He's a guy for me where certainly I'm not overloaded on him. Just going to check my underdog exposure here to get a read on how much I have. Yeah, Genty, I'm at 11% overall across all the tournaments. For Best Ball Mania, 11.8%. I'm cool with Genty at his ADP. I would say in terms of like my concern about a guy paying off his price tag, I think you'd certainly have that concern for Genty, given the fact we've already seen talk about him splitting time with Raheem Mostert. Like that's definitely something where, it's not great. But for Genty, I think the touchdown equity is going to be there. I think he'll be a 15 to 18 touch back right away. I think he's also going to be involved in the pass game more than Boise State seemingly wanted to use him. Whether he'll be good at it or not, we'll find out because he wasn't really good in the pass game at Boise State. Basically, at this point, I think that those 2 to be my big 2. Other guys, in terms of ADPs that I'm willing to pay, I really don't feel great about Judkins. And I've talked about this a little bit on the drafting stream. I don't feel great about Judkins. I don't feel great about Caleb Johnson. I unfortunately don't feel great about Omarion Hampton. I've taken him a few times in drafts because I don't want to rule him out because I do think he's extremely talented. And the coaching staff has talked well about him. The fact that he can do everything, which is really the big appeal to me for him coming in. We still got 5 spots left in this draft, guys. So please, for the love of God, join me on here. I can talk about rookies, but at a certain point, we need this draft to start. So I go pick up Luka. I think that for Hampton, I really believe in the talent, but when you have Najee Harris there, and Najee Harris, even though everybody can make their jokes about how slow he is, you can mock that guy Felix, who won the DraftKings Millie Maker a couple of years ago, and how he takes Najee Harris every year. Najee is probably the best Najee Harris he's been. 21% avoided tackle rate last year. 3 red zone rushes a game, 0.2 red zone targets doesn't matter too much. Like he earned good volume. He held Jaylen Warren at bay. I think that for Najee Harris, he is a legitimate detriment to Omarion Hampton paying off at that ADP. And look, if Hampton were priced where Judkins and Caleb Johnson are great, I think then wheels up. He's not. He's priced more, around Breece Hall at 40, much different click than Breece Hall at 30. I just don't think Hampton's that guy for me either. So that's what ADP has fucked up for me this year. Is like I think this last couple years here on Splash Play, I've been one of the better rookie guys in the biz in terms of getting this right. When I make my rookie bets, digging my heels in, and sometimes it ends up Marshawn Lloyd, sometimes it ends up Jaden Daniels and Bucky Irving and Tyler Algier and AR for a good month. So I think that really it's one of those things for me. It's hard to like be anti-rookie, but really if I'm going to make my case for like rookies at ADP, like I like a lot. It's Tet, it's Genty. That's it. That's the top guys. So that's the summary there. The cheap guys I'm cool with. But even then, we'll see. But thank God we filled this draft here. Oh my God, another 101. All right, I picked the 101 on DraftKings, 101 here. My influence must be rising. Shout out to all you guys who got in here. I see your guy Nolan is in here. Been grinding drafts all morning. Seen chunking a few. There we go. You guys are working hard. We got Rob Coakley in here from Spike Week. Nice to see him. Gabe Davis, of course, in the chat. Ponkers, I don't know him, but he seems like a name that somebody would have here. And Chunk the Deuce in here as well. I think Toby-Wan Kenobi might be in the chat. Who knows? Hey, Melissa. Welcome, Melissa. Hey, Melissa, 33 months in Stochastic. Now you're over here. Glad to see it. Northman Progeny. All right. Shout out Melissa Harvey in the chat, too. Glad to have you guys on here. Let's make this draft work. And the good news on drafters, I really do think for you guys out there, and I get the thrill of seeing your name in stream drafts and all that. In those other stream drafts out there, you're playing in pods against each other. It's maybe not the best, most plus EV world to get a ton of your entries in there, even if you do a few for fun or just to get different rooms. Like I would get it. On drafters, there's no pods. That's really a big thing here that I do like drafting with the community with you guys on here because we're not really cannibalizing each other's teams quite as much. You'll still have sniping in rooms. You'll still find people that take Joe Burrow because they don't want somebody to get the T. Higgins and Jamar Chase stack. That's still life here as well as it is on any site in best ball right now. But, I think on drafters, you're just probably not, as a streamer, if you're good at this, you're probably not hurting your community as much as like if you put everybody in your same pods and just abuse them. Probably what I would love to do is like to be the fantasy flock and to be in all his user rooms. And boy, man, just take 2 receivers in the top 5 and you're good to go. And the great also here. Okay. Love to hear that. A lot of experience on drafters. Well, if you played DraftKings, pretty similar. It's full point PPR, 20 rounds. So that's that. You are trying to hit the median projection a little bit more. I think you want to have your elite receiver, elite RB, elite tight end if you can get it, elite QB if you can get it at a reasonable price. But trying to balance even more, I think, is a move. But I got Jamar Chase at the 101. That's what I'm comfortable doing. Really odd to see Saquon Barkley at pick 4 on any best ball site to me, just given the fact, frankly, the people who have threatened me the most with physical violence on the internet, all Saquon Barkley slappies, which, put it together for yourself. But like Saquon at pick 4 here with how he paid off last year, I am surprised to see it. And I don't know if it's people like Nolan here in the 3-hole who've gotten some entries in, diversifying or something. But Saquon going behind in this room, Jefferson, Gibbs, Bijan, and Jamar Chase. The Chase part happens everywhere. Surprised to see it. Like, look, I can critique Saquon. I still feel like the fancy Miles Sanders critique from last year was fair. It's just he ended up being the fucking one of those like first class flights to the United Arab Emirates. Like, yeah, like that was with Saquon. He was the fanciest Miles Sanders in the possible world. But like, still fucking did great. Like, really, I've said it a few times on stream. All these guys in the first round, besides McCaffrey and I guess Jency, who didn't play last year, obviously, they're all guys plus CPA players at high volume, good enough avoided tackle rates at good volumes in particular for Gibbs, for Bijan, and for Gibbs and Bijan, I expect them to hit a ceiling we haven't seen yet because of where they are age wise and how that works. But these RB prices are all really fair and good, so I don't know. It's a different world of drafting. You just have less traps. Like I think in previous years, Joe Mixon would have gone round 2. It's like, oh, he got 25 touches a game. Like that dude's a monster running back. He's great. And now the ADPs, the markets are sharp enough to know like we're only really boosting the guys who are great. At receiver, I think there's more landmines than there are at RB in the early rounds. Like CeeDee Lamb wouldn't shock me if he were a landmine, even though I know people want to make the case. I just find it hard to believe, and this is really what I've given anti-Dallas takes the entire offseason. Since they hired Schottenheimer in particular. But really the biggest thing for Dallas, I can't think of a time when a team has hired an offensive line coach as their offensive coordinator, and it's been like a fantasy haven for great production, like in particular for pass game production. And that's what the Cowboys did. Like, the Clayton Adams, who they brought in, O-line coach. He's been a tight end coach, but he's mostly an O-line coach his entire career. And it's like also Schottenheimer, guy who's run power run schemes his entire career. Like, what do you think you're going to get? I don't know. We take Lamb so high. We take Pickens so high. And I get it, the assumption of volume and whatever, and Dax talk positively about the offense. And some of the athletic profile kind of stuff lately as well. But I don't see how this offense is going to be, like, actually good. Maybe I'll be proven wrong. It does happen from time to time. But I am not sold that an offensive line coach should ever be your offensive coordinator is really what I'm not sold by. Got Saquon at 7 in a Spike Week stream draft last night with Coakley. Oh, there we go. Maybe they're even more anti-Saquon pilled. I feel like the Spike Week guys, are they not? Is it not their community at the very least pro Saquon? I thought it was. Actually made a live stream. Shout out Bigsy. Appreciate seeing you here. I'm taking the gamble to get more healthy weeks on Kenneth Walker because I think his ADP will rise come August. Yeah, that's possible. Kenneth Walker has been talked up for multiple years in a row now, and he keeps producing in terms of the advanced stuff. One of the higher avoided tackle rate guys, which is one of the things that I care a lot about. 31% avoided tackle rate for a dude getting 13.5 rushes a game. 18.3 intended touches overall. You got good work last year. You are, changing over offensive coordinators. So we'll see if maybe it does lead to a little bit of a change. But I like Kenneth Walker a lot. Kenneth Walker, to me, I think pretty reliable, pretty regular second, third RB for me. Sometimes first, but not as often. Yeah, I've got 18% Kenneth Walker in BBM as I'm looking right now. Didn't miss much of this draft. Best of luck with the influencer. I'm the king. I'm so influential today. DraftKings and Drafters 101s. Can't stop me. We got Jonathan Taylor here, Garrett Wilson here, T. Higgins here. I think getting a little bit of value on Taylor, making him our bell cow RB seems logical enough. Taylor going down. I do think the double stacks on Drafters, just taking the projection points at receiver, have played pretty well for me in the past, even when it's teams that aren't as good as a Chase Higgins pairing for Cincinnati. I like Garrett Wilson too, but I am going to go with Higgins. I'm going to go Higgins. Really the only thing, if McBride had come back here, but he went at 14 to our person, Melissa in chat. We'll say that for Trey McBride. Love picking him when he's over here, but it's probably going to happen less, I think, on Drafters as the summer goes on. McBride's ADP's come up. McBride now, well, actually, no, 25.8 ADP. Yeah, he normally would still come back there. I've seen him go in the middle here enough on stream lately. McBride, though, I don't know. McBride and Bauer should be next to each other in ADP, I think. McBride at 14 is wild, but Melissa loves McBride. I get it. Hey, look, there's no chance McBride is coming back to 35, so I get it in that respect. It is a little bit tough to, throw ADP out the window too much at this point of a draft cycle, given the fact we are still in June, but I get it. And that is one thing, I wouldn't do it all the time, but if it is a player that you have no shot at getting back, don't take Joe Burrow at pick 14 or something like that, because you might get him at pick 70. But McBride's never going to get past 30. I mean, I don't think I've seen McBride go past 30 once, this entire draft cycle. We got our Jonathan Taylor, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins start. I feel good about that. This pocket, I said it on the DraftKings stream. Feel like at the end of a draft here, balancing your RB and wide receiver really important, because right now this is all wide receiver. You can see there's no RBs on the board until James Cook at pick 44.7. So this is a spot where if you get Genty in, you feel better about it. You get Breece Hall in here, you feel okay about it. But really, you have no RBs of note at this point. So kind of a dry spot here if you're trying to make it up at RB. I should push Burrow to 96 because I could trust you guys. Yeah, I'm sure that's somebody that will pop to the chat who we've never heard of before is going to be like, I did you all a favor. I took Joe Burrow. But I'm probably, I don't know. I'm probably not taking Burrow at 48, 49. I don't want to. Chunk's having fun. Yeah, getting McLaurin. It's a fun start for Chunk. The Genty price tag still feels too much like Marvin Harrison last year at receiver. That's my biggest thing. It's my biggest mental block with Genty. It's not stopping me for drafting him or anything, but I just worry that you're just not. It's hard to pay off that aggressive rookie price tag like that. Like Genty in previous years, he probably would have been priced last year, but behind Saquon. So 2-3 turn maybe, I think. It's all the rookie RBs got frothed up too much this year. But I still like Genty as a click. Just feel he stands out like a sore thumb. Derrick Henry. If you told me Derrick Henry gets outscored by Genty, I would almost be surprised. Achane getting outscored by Genty, I'd almost be surprised. Bucky being outscored by Genty, kind of would be surprised. I've never really talked about Genty out loud like this. I think that's why I'm I feel so surprised by it out loud. Because I like Genty in my head. Just as a projection play, I mean, he's a lot more Josh Jacobs than he is McCaffrey, I think. Who knows? We got Jalen Hurts here. Not going to take him. Omarion Hampton, Kenneth Walker. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be one of the clicks here. I do like him overall. Marion Hampton, I like the price tag on drafters more than some of the other sites out there where he's going still around 40. But I will skip over him for Walker. And I think I need another receiver here. Hunter, Pickens, Zay. I want to feel really solid about this team. That's Cincinnati double. So I'm going to go Zay Flowers here. I like Travis Hunter still. I'm okay with him. But I do think in terms of making a drafters team that feels more projectable, will give me production throughout the year. Like, I think Travis Hunter is still a cozy click for me enough. And he's fallen in rooms more. So like that might be part of my brain kind of not allowing me to click it here. Zay Flowers just also feels mispriced to me. Like where he was going last year, low 30s, low 40s, high 30s. Great. I think that was the appropriate price tag for him. Now he's behind a bunch of dudes that I don't know he should be behind. So I'm going Zay. Andrew likes Zay. Good. That's all I need. I need somebody to enable me here. Jency's nice on playoff sites with the dusty Giants players late. Yeah, for sure. And I think getting the game environment too, like obviously you can't game stack Neighbors, Jency, and Bowers. I just think the Jency price tag's a little too high. And I'm somebody that believes he legit will year one give you 2 touchdown games enough. I'm just not sold on a PPR site, especially that he's a unique enough play there to be going that high. We'll see. Joe Burrow goes here to Hash Browns, who has Lamar already. So what are you going to do? What are you going to do, guys? In previous years, this is where I would have gone, oh, motherfucker. I would have hammed it up for the bit. But now I know that I can't do that because people think like I'm actually fucking dying here of rage. In reality, it's stupid. But this guy's burning his own money, taking Joe Burrow at 57 with Lamar already on his team. Stupid. But I think he got mad that Zay didn't come back, would be my guess. As if Zay is entitled to come back to 57. Who knows? Stupid click, though, either way. I know. I honestly would think it was funny too if you can't fucking get people to yell at you, like you don't lose fucking marketing deals because of people being stupid about bits you do on stream. But it's just a bit. Unfortunately, anytime I would do the bit, and have to say, well, this is where I would have done this bit, and now I'm not going to do it. People fucking doing crass. I'm in fact pretty comfortable gambling on stream now, having done it for thousands of hours over the course of the last few years. Sure, the results might not look like it in terms of view count, but I've been doing this for a while, guys. We got our Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers start. We'll see what Hash Browns does to snipe me some more. Really, really get me with how they're making some sick clicks. Reaching for Ricky Pearsall. That'll solve things. Pearsall ahead of Juwan Jennings. Not really a move I would do too often. This pocket of receiver, though, Jerry Jeudy, one of my least favorite clicks. Jordan Addison, I like. Rome Odunze, I like. Harvey, not a fan of until it gets to the 80s. Thank you, dog. Yes. Kitty needs to be on my lap. By the way, here's your kitty update. Here's how big she is now, just for everybody who follows along at home. Here's how big the dog is. Look at... She looks like gigantic. She looks larger than me right now on screen. But Kitty has gotten to be a very big dog very fast. She has to be over 30 pounds now, which is so stupid. She is the fucking smallest cat-like dog as a puppy, and obviously puppies grow. But I thought paws don't grow. Her paws are growing, which doesn't seem right. That's a lie. That's not how that's supposed to go. Please tell me Jerry Jeudy's not going to come back to me. Somebody take Jerry Jeudy, please, so I don't have to. Toby-Wan Kenobi, save me. It's your only hope, Toby-Wan Kenobi. Take Jerry Jeudy so I don't have to. Because I'll do it. All right, there you go. Thank you, Toby-Wan Kenobi. All right, this is honestly just a nice RB pocket here. I think I can make it up at receiver, and I'm going to try to. I'm just going to load up this RB room. David Montgomery, come on down. DeAndre Swift, come on down. I just feel like if I lose because I didn't take Khalil Shakir, Stephon Diggs, and Matthew Golden, I'm fine with that. This RB room will pop. I've got to bet on the Bengals without the QB. I've got Zay Flowers. I like this. Yeah, it's a great RB pocket. I don't like the receivers here enough. So we'll get some 100 receivers. We'll try to feel better about that. Team so far, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. At receiver, the 101 with Jamar Chase. We got T. Higgins as well. So whenever Chase fails, we'll get Higgins hopefully picking up the slack. And Zay Flowers, I think is undervalued. Think maybe going Garrett Wilson over Jonathan Taylor now in hindsight would feel better, because then I would have a really loaded receiver room. I would still have Kenneth Walker, Montgomery, and Swift as like a nice 3 RB base. But then I wouldn't have Jonathan Taylor, who literally won all the money last year. So at least for, the playoff pod sites out there. So that's the trade-off. But I'll play the GIF. I think there's definitely some RB piggery here. Here we go. I'm an RB piggy. Can't imagine my life without 4 running backs in our top 75 picks. Oink, oink, oink. Oink, oink, oink. But I think that's really, though, and maybe this has been the case always in best ball. I really didn't feel it quite as much. In some spots you did, but not across the board. Really think that where you're drafting in terms of like 101 versus 112, if you're in the front of the round versus the back of the round versus the middle of the round, think that where you're drafting this year, there's an advantage to just playing different builds in different spots. And maybe that's how I end up taking myself off of like taking the right guys in some spot. But like I've said it a bunch of times, you go 2 RBs to start here from the 1 through 5 hole. That feels okay. Go in balanced build the back half of the round. That feels like the right move here. Middle round, you can kind of go either way, but I think 0 RB works a little bit better in the middle round. I just haven't felt like a draft board speaks to me in that way in previous years. Maybe that's just me getting theoretically better as a player or something. But I don't know, that'd be one of my takes, is that I really think that, different spots, you still want to be balanced this year, no matter what. But I think that certain spots lend themselves more to doing certain kind of builds. Shocking to take Garrett Wilson, insulates you from Burrow snipe too. How would taking Garrett Wilson insulate me from the Burrow snipe? Oh, because I would have another out with Fields? That doesn't matter. Doesn't matter to me. But I get what you're saying. It's honestly a fair point. What do you think of pulling up Thomas to correlate with Taylor for week 17 on the pod sites? Interesting approach. I wouldn't do it. Again, another thing I still wouldn't do at this point of a draft cycle, unless you think you're done drafting for the summer, which ideally you're not until, the games actually start. But yeah, to me, if you're doing that in August, I think cool move. Doing it now, I guess if you did it now, you're just doing it in the hopes that it might never be a thing. But again, what if Brian Thomas sprains an ankle, then he falls 3 rounds and get it easily? What if Jonathan Taylor is giving up work to DJ Giddens in camp? People don't realize that's like a false flag thing. I don't know. There's some ways you can get a little bit better. Shaming them early in drafters chat, it's also insulates you. I think it wouldn't, because then they would think this guy knows too much. He knows he's going to get Joe Burrow, so I got to not take him. Why don't you just go here? Why don't you chew on your bone? Get a bone here. What's that bone's for? We got 2 picks coming up. Brandon Ayuk floating around. QB at this point, nothing too good. All right. I mean, I think for total points format, it feels tough to absorb Brandon Ayuk. Obviously no week 17 correlation on this site, but I am going to do a week 17 correlation. I am going to go Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins. Take the swing on the big, young outside receivers here. I think for Brandon Ayuk, I think he's a lot more appealing to me on a pod site than he is on drafters, because I have to give up this capital. I want to have him give me some points early on, especially for a team that needs to make it up at receiver. So I think for me in particular, Ayuk didn't make sense here. But I really think in general on drafters, Ayuk is just less valuable. Like, unless he's going to be a crusher for the back half of the season and there's probably a ramp-up period, I think you want a single-game spike week more than you do want him to give you total points. Like, so I'm just not, facing Ayuk down on a site like drafters here, and I haven't, had that kind of situation before. I really don't think Ayuk's a good click on drafters at ADP. Here at pick 104, you take him, especially if you have a good receiver room around him. But for me, with Chase Higgins, Zay, I don't know. And I worry about Trey Harris too, but I still think he's a better click than Brandon Ayuk. Like, Trey Harris has to beat out Quentin Johnston and has to do it meaningfully, because those guys are playing the exact same role. Hasn't been the case so far with OTAs. We'll see what happens in training camp. And I don't think it's going to happen in training camp either. But I think at least Harris gives me a shot at, being a rotational player early on. And Ayuk, if it ends up being 8 weeks he misses somehow, which is a possibility, especially with him being kind of lethargic, playing through adverse conditions last year, maybe. I just know that Ayuk's a good click on drafters. Unless you're getting them at this point. Like one of these guys here, if they have a good receiver room, they take Ayuk and they're probably getting more value out of it than I would. Yeah, Ayuk here at pick 106 for a guy who's got Nico, London, Tyreek, McMillan, and Jaden Reed. He needs it in Ayuk the least. Like he probably needs more running back firepower in, or QB or tight end, obviously. But this team can absorb Brandon Ayuk and make sense of it. My team, I don't think could. But who knows? Who knows? A little bit of things to consider on different sites. It is a rough patch here. These pockets affect, it's part of why people drag up QB so much, is because there's really only a few decent receiver clicks, and RBs maybe not the greatest either. ATN's coming up a lot too, which I'm glad to see. I feel like that was one that we got right early on, was that the bet for number one was wrong to just have Tootin ahead of both ATN and Bigsby. But ATN got some light praise from Liam Cohen. It seems like that's been enough to solidify him as the number one guy going. I feel like ETR has also been pushing ATN a little bit more in some of their content. You guys, if you're getting any value out of this video or you just enjoy hanging out with me, show some love, subscribe down below with the like button, leave a comment. Of course, Splash Play will have best ball drafts all summer long. I'm even planning to bring them on vacation. The first week of July, going to be on vacation, I guess. I don't know what that is. It's like the last week of June, first week of July. But I'm planning to be doing shows down there, including these drafters drafts on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So strap in here every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. We do drafts. Friday, I do a draft on all the sites, Drafters, DraftKings, and Underdog. Of course, my stochastic streams on DraftKings every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. as well. There'll be more bonus streams added on right now. Frankly, I've drafted like a lot of Best Ball Mania teams off stream. I feel guilty. Like I feel like the Vegas bit of like I'm cheating on you guys when I don't do it on stream. But I do think that I've built some nice BBM teams. Really happy with my exposure. But I am now 51 BBM drafts in. So I've hit a third of my entries for the shareholders and Justin Herzig's fantasy best ball DFS thing. I think you're going to be really happy with your investment in my portfolio. I think you're going to crush. But a lot of picks. I've done a lot of drafts on BBM. I've done a lot of drafts on Underdog this year so far. Chunk took Goff. He took Goff with Amon-Ra. Oh, and you had Laporta. No JMO, though. I feel like if I were judging, I think you guys both had equal squatter rights on Goff. We got Drake May here. We have Justin Herbert. Again, just need to get some QB in at this point. Ugh, I hate Drake May so much. I really wish I hated Drake May less and could take him and feel good about that. But I don't. So I'm going to take Justin Herbert instead. Second QB, I think I'm going to wait on here. Kirk, just make a secondary Houston receiver bet. I think that wouldn't be a crazy thing here. Drake May is a value. And Njoku, also a little bit of a value. Fuck me. Drake May is the only way I'm going to take you, Drake May. I hope you're happy. Drake May here. Justin Herbert at QB. At RB, we've got Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. At receiver, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Trey Harris, and Jaden Higgins. We definitely need some more at wide receiver. At RB, I mean, I'll take more because it's a 20-round draft, but like I don't know that I need a ton more at RB. QB, I think a third QB is still very live here. Really hoping Drake May runs like before he had an NFL draft likely selection for himself in the first round. Drake May ran a ton the year before he came out, ran a lot less the year he came out. This past year, he was running, sub 5 times a game? Drake May ran 4 times a game last year, which is not definitely not in your elite rushing QB range of guys like Jalen Hurts running 8.5, Lamar running 7.5, Jaden running 8.1. So that's my issue with Drake May, if you guys aren't familiar. I think the industry has propped up Drake May way too much, somewhat blindly. And I also don't know how a Mike Vrabel, Josh McDaniels offense is like, oh, this is going to be the thing that makes Drake May rise up a level here. I don't think any of us are longing for the days of the Ryan Tannehill, Tennessee QB options we had in fantasy. But whatever. Hate Drake May too, just blasphemy around my parts. I mean, I think you have a shot of him being a viable real life QB if you live in New England and like you're rooting for the Patriots. In fantasy, he spiked some okay days, but people think that means he's going to make a gigantic leap. And again, I will not personally forget, and I think for you guys out there, you shouldn't also forgive anybody who played who fucking put you on Drake May over Jaden Daniels. One of the biggest errors that was possible. And I think a very avoidable error for a lot of people, but they dug their heels in. I certainly have the anti-priors on Drake May, where it's like he's nowhere near Jaden, and I think it was stupid that people talked like he was. No respect to anybody in particular because it might sound like that, but like a lot of people did. But I think for Drake May, like I can hope he'll be better in year 2, but like I don't know what your signs of hope are besides like he was okay last year, and like my priors say he's good. That's it. Yeah, he's a bet. He's overpriced by like 20 spots, I think, is really my big issue. 15. I think a lot of the Pats prices are poorly priced. I agree. Diggs, I don't like the price tag. Kyle Williams feels expensive too. I like Pop Douglas is a great price tag. Love Pop Douglas because he'll probably get you bootleg Adam Humphrey on the Titans kind of targets. So you'll get you some PPR scam bullshit. That's fine. But Jalen Polk, that's actually one thing that's kind of interesting from the beat reporters. Jalen Polk's apparently like way down the depth chart. Somebody who's local might know, like Gamblestein might know. I haven't even heard them talk about Javon Baker either. I feel like he's now fully down the depth chart too. Kendrick Bourne might be a camp cut. Were some of the reports out there. Like for New England, it's like, who are you stacking him with? I think it's Pop Douglas and Hunter Henry, and I think that's about it. That's really my issue with New England. Is like I just don't think the stack options are great. You Chisholm hype. It's like, and you can pick him for free, and I get that. But like he's got no draft capital. He's got to go against a bunch of guys who have draft capital or money spent, including Polk, who they tried to put in the slot, Butte, who they think is like good. Forgot they brought in Mac Hollins too, and he's a guy that coaches tend to trust and bring out there more because he doesn't fuck up a lot and he'll block and he'll do those things. I don't know. But I could give Drake May FUD, and like he'll hit this year, and everybody will like, oh, fuck, you remember you spoke ill of Drake May? No matter what, his price tag shouldn't be above some of the guys above. Is really my big thing with Drake May. Like why he's above Trevor Lawrence, who we're getting an offense we love coming in. Stroud, even though we're getting a tight end coach coming, it's not offensive line coach. And it's still pass game coordinators coming into Houston too. So like, somebody who's at least going to hopefully help them run and sling the ball better. Jordan Love goes behind Drake May. Jordan Love's literally won people BBM before. McCarthy and Drake May is probably closer than the draft win here. They're racist in Boston. They just love their white slot guys, but it's okay. They're getting their Jism jerseys right now. I blame Bill Simmons. That's who I'm going to blame. We got picks coming up here. We could use tight end for sure. And we really don't have natural great tight end options. Jaden Blue is also on the board, though not really exciting for me. I'm going to go up and get Quentin Johnson, at least cover that boundary receiver spot for the Chargers, because we need to get a little more in at receiver. And again, Trey Harris, Quentin Johnson, I think very similar bets. Am I going to make Dalton Kincaid my first pick at tight end? I don't feel great about that. I could take Likely here. I think that'd be okay. I'm going to do that. No issue with Loveland. No issue really with Kincaid. But we've got a little bit of a Baltimore pass game bet. Mini stacks out the QB are one thing I have been really trying to be mindful of getting more of this year, especially for teams that were expected to be good and score a lot of points. So I will go with Isaiah Likely here. My team so far, 2 QBs, 4 RBs, 6 receivers, 1 tight end. We got Justin Herbert, Drake May at QB, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift at RB. RB room is like elite. Wide receiver room, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers. Then we started position a little bit, went to Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, Quentin Johnson. Top 3 for the receiver room is elite. Again, think that Gamblestein, what he said before was right. I said it before too. If I took Garrett Wilson instead of Jonathan Taylor, I wouldn't have the super elite RB, but I would have a more balanced team overall. Would have freed me up to take RB a little bit more as well. So that's that. And Isaiah Likely's my tight end. Gonna have to do 3-4 tight ends of this build, basically. Just fine. I feel like draft returns will be softer closer to the season, unlike other sites. They all get softer closer to the season. because you have the casuals coming in, so that'll happen. I think drafters, in my opinion, is universally pretty soft across the board. Obviously, these rooms where we have more friends and family, like I think probably 7 out of the people in this room are splash play subs or people. I mean, put Coakley in there. It's another 8 total of guys that know what they're doing. But I don't know. I feel like on drafters, you also don't need big ADP values to feel good. Like you can be in a sharp room and build a good enough team, in my opinion. And to answer my question, Javon Baker gets 0 talk on local media. Polk a smidge. Yeah, Polk, I think people still think is good, but I know he's been really far down the depth chart, so I am certainly not a big believer. Don't get how few Chiefs wide receivers are or how Chief wide receivers are so high, Mahomes is so low. Yeah, I mean, that's a thing that Alex Baker, Osmo had said many years ago on a DFS stream, which always stuck with me. It's like, whenever you see ownership going to the receivers and not the QB, like there's really not logic there. It's the same thing for ADP. Like Rashee Rice so high, Worthy so high. Mahomes will fall to 100 sometimes, even though he's got like a low 80s, mid 80s ADP on every site. I would agree that he shouldn't be that low. Because like I also think for me, and I was really one of very few people across the industry, very anti-Chiefs last year in terms of fantasy assets, because they showed me the year before who they were, which was a team that wanted to win with defense. They did win with defense. This year, I think it's going to be different because they pushed that as far as they could last year. Got the Super Bowl. It wasn't an easy journey to get there, even though, I mean, it felt kind of easy as they were going through it. But then they got smoked by the Eagles because they just didn't have a good enough offense, even with Mahomes and all that. So I think this year you're going to see them try to get a functional offense going. But Matt Nagy has said that it's really Mahomes' own conservatism. That's not it. Conservativism. There we go. We got it. It took 3 tries. 3 times the charm. But Mahomes' own conservatism that makes the offense play a little bit closer to the vest. It's not anything necessarily that he feels like he's calling. I probably think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle there. But if you saw what you saw last year for them, you know the offense has to be better because you can't do the same shit and expect to win. So I think for them, they are going to be more aggressive this year. They have the weapons to do it, you know, including guys like Royals, who I think is a massive improvement to your Justin Watson grouping of routes last year, your Juju routes, whatever much remained there. And then getting Rice back with no suspension, seemingly the injury, nothing there either. Worthy, another year of improvement when he started to spike down the home stretch as well. I would agree. But what the Chiefs have shown us, though, for years, though, is that they don't want to risk Mahomes, is really it. So that's it. Mahomes conservative autism. That's honestly pretty fair to how I said it. Pretty close. Let's see. Do I think there's still hope for Deuce Vaughn? Unfortunately, no. I will say the guys I feel like that I've dug my heels on the most strongly, and I've been like, no fucking chance. I feel like I've gotten pretty right. Deuce Vaughn being one. Dalvin Cook, famously our pal Jerry, still comes in the chat sometimes. Got that one right. I feel like when I set my wartime battles over a certain guy, that's when you know I think they're not a good click. Can't think of one I've been like dead wrong about that. Like I was low on the Bengals last year because I thought the team was going to be chaotic. But I still tried to take Higgins, still tried to take Chase. So I didn't feel, and took a lot of Chase Brown. So I don't feel like that was a bad one. The Burrow part was a little bit better than I thought it would be. We're on the clock here. Again, still feeling good at RB, but we do have a lot of RB options here. Hunter Henry's got to be one of the clicks no matter what because we want to get some New England exposure. So I'm going to make sure to do that. And I don't think this guy's gone yet, even though I think he should be going in this range. Pop Douglas, I'm going to bring up by a little bit. He's got a 179 ADP. Good camp reports for him. Seems like he's the only reliable receiver. Though, again, one of our guys in New England could correct me if they want. But I think Pop Douglas, to me, is still a strong click at this point. Just too cheap, much like for a while. And honestly, Josh Palmer on Drafters still is. Now he's come up on other sites. I think Pop Douglas, too cheap right now. He should come up to the one. I mean, he should be ahead of Pat Bryant. A lot of people should ahead of Pat Bryant. He should be in this Quentin Johnston, Jack Besh range that I'm sure Jack Besh is falling out of right now. Would be my guess. But clicking Singletary, he's totally retiring. That must be it. Yeah, Singletary does not have a lot of outs left at this point. Poop Douglas, that's hurtful. On PPR, he looks good. PPR Douglas. Douglas, most reliable receiver right now, made for McDaniel's offense. That's what I've been seeing from the local people too. As apologize for the camera moving. Kitty is moving the entire table as she chews on a rope. But yeah, good camp reports for Pop Douglas. Seems like he's the only one actually getting good camp reports. Kyle Williams making some explosive plays, but really find it hard to believe he makes enough to pay off at that ADP being as high as it is. Let's give the team a read here, though. We've got 2 QBs. Justin Herbert, Drake May, looking like it's going to be a 2 QB build right now, barring me putting something together late. Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift. I think a fifth RB coming in at some point would be nice, but I don't think it's a must-have at this point. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, Quentin Johnston, Pop Douglas, our receiver room. Top 3 receiver is a great room to me. From there, we took on some risk, but tried to corner positions, in particular the Chargers, Quentin Johnston, Trey Harris part. I think you're going to get some production out of that two-man group combined. And a tight end, Isaiah Likely, Hunter Henry, definitely a 4 tight end build in a 20-rounder. What happened to Ladd? He was nowhere near the 101. Ladd went pick 21 here. If Ladd had come back to 24, 25, he would have been in the hunt for me for sure. But it wasn't my plan to get a Chargers Houston build going. Consistent 5 for 40 weekly line for Pop on a PPR site like Drafters. That'll do it for you, I think. Hey, McDaniels and Pop be productive in that offense, especially on PPR. Great click. Thank you, Gamblestein. Yeah, look, I agree. Pop to me, in particular on Drafters and DraftKings, the strong one right now. And yeah, it's a good point as well that McDaniels, for whatever his flaws may be, does find ways to produce out of the slot every time. I guess even for the Raiders, Jacoby Myers was at one point ping-ponging with Adams, so even there. If Ladd dies, the team gets better. If Ladd dies, the team is crushing. Then I've got the full contingent Charger stack. I'm sure a lot of the Herbert teams would probably have McConkey on them. So you're right. Adam, I think you need to know. I think you know what you need to do with your fandom. Get full Selena president mode with Ladd McConkey and his fan club. No, please. I can't even joke about that because somebody will take it seriously and fucking post on Twitter. Tag Drafters. I'll get in trouble. Kitty, can you stay over here? This fucking big dog. We're not done yet. We've got 5 more rounds. Can you be patient? Thank you. I'll give you some jerky. Here, should you guys want to see Kitty eat some jerky? Here we go. Let's get all right. Dog, you can see her face. Rachel's down here. Come here, Kitty. Here, actually. Kitty, touch. Let's put her hand so you can see the touch. Touch. There you go. And there's some jerky. Wait, up here. There, she's getting some jerky. What other best ball streams give you a dog eating jerky? I can't think of one. Her touch is only good when she fucking when I have jerky in my hand. Otherwise, she just looks at me like an asshole. she's been phenomenally difficult to train. We're trying to crate train her now because we're going to Florida and we have somebody watching her and she's gonna be in a crate. And I'm telling you, it's not filling me with fucking hope right now. We've got our Houston bet here. I think going Nick Chubb would be logical. So I'm going to do that with one of these clicks. Marshawn Lloyd to give us another RB if we wanted to do that. And I think we could then be done. Can you please stop licking my forearm? Think we'd be done at RB with that. Tight end. I feel like tight end's falling off the cliff here when Chig and Juwan Johnson are gone. Who do I like more between these two? I mean, I do have Chargers tight ends coming up later too. But I'm going to go Chig. Tennessee's going to be a better offense. The Gunnar Helm part of it makes me worry slightly more with Chig, but that's fine. We're just adding some tight end volume here. We got 3 rounds left, so I could add more guys later on. The team so far, Justin Herbert, Drake May. Did think a little bit about Daniel Jones there because we have the Jonathan Taylor bet, but meh. But Herbert and May is our QBs. Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb, just RB bet here late. Though, sure, Marshawn Lloyd, I think similar. Jerome Ford, less appealing, but still similar. Receiver, we have Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, got sniped on Burrow very early by a guy who was mad that I took Zay Flowers because that's drafting for you. Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, Quentin Johnston, Pop Douglas here. At tight end, Isaiah Likely, Hunter Henry, Chigakonkwo, our 3 tight end room. And we're definitely getting to 4 tight ends, if not 5 in this one, because I feel pretty okay about the other positions. Concerned Chubb doesn't make the cut. I don't think they would have signed him if that were going to be a thing. I think he is contingent value for there's actually our guy, Emo Cowboy Tyler, in the chat posted recently that Mixon was in a walking boot. Like he's a hedge against Mixon. I think no matter what, Mixon last year got subbed out enough in goal line situations because he was tired. They had used him too much and like they didn't want him out there for the last play. Like guys like Darian Gubawale got like red zone work. Cam Akers got red zone work last year before he got cut. They gave guys red zone work last year that if Chubb just takes that, like he's got, 10 point to 15 point games in him. But I'm not like stoked about taking Chubb, obviously. Chubb doesn't make the Houston RB room. He's dead. I agree. Woody Marks is dog shit. Thoughts taking 5 QBs, getting most of all of them in the last 8 rounds. 5 is too many. 4 is more than enough for a 20 rounder if you're going to do it that way. But again, like, you don't need to do that. Like, I would just take Bryce Young and pick 183, take Cam Ward to pick 165, take Trevor Lawrence to pick 137. That's a 3 QB room that feels more than good enough to me. If you want to make it even better, take one of the guys in this range first. But 3 QB build should really, I think, be your trying to get a really good 3 QB build that's stacked up on a pod site that has correlation for week 17 should be your goal. 5 QB, I think too much. I did have some builds that hung in longer than I would have thought last year, in particular an Underdog, that were weird, like 4 RBs with early RB capital, 4 QBs that were then stacked up with wide receiver and tight end. And there were a couple I had that I'd built like that did advance and hung in there. I think got eliminated maybe week 16. I don't think it's a terrible build, but you got to really hit the capital buckets right in a way that I wouldn't tell people to do that because probably specific to very certain teams. All right, we got 3 picks coming up here, 2 in a row, then the last pick of the draft. Yikes. At this point, I think we could take a luxury AR bet. Tyler Shuck would give us actual projectable points, but I don't know that a Herbert May team needs them. We got no giant stuff, so Jackson Dart, not that option. I'm going to make AR one of these picks. I think it's pure luxury, but I feel really good about how the team is built so far. And I'll do AD Mitchell as well. Some decent camp reports for him. Alec Pierce, a bet that I make a good amount. Getting AD Mitchell for free on the 20-round sites a few times makes sense. So let's go. Shout out, Joey. Take a moment to appreciate our Lord Savior Nicholas Jamal Chubb. And I did, in fact, take him. I did it for you, Joey. I knew in advance. Cannot put the jersey on because it's over there, and the dog has to keep putting her head on my lap. She is so hot. She's so furry and heat generating in this room that does not have the fan on today. Not a good move. Like, it became 80 today, and it was not that hot this morning. But the net result is the studio gets really gross, and I feel gross as well in this fucking flame retardant hat. Got a retardant in the hat, and then also the hat's retardant. But the team so far here, we got Justin Herbert, Drake May, and Anthony Richardson here for free. Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, Nick Chubb is our RB room. Really think of a better 5th RB, maybe makes it pop a little bit more, I guess, but I'm cool with how this is. A receiver, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, double the Higginses, double the fun. Quentin Johnson, Pop Douglas, AD Mitchell. I like the room. I think Pop Douglas for free really makes the team pop a little bit more and also makes up for maybe the question marks around Harris and Higgins. But I'm cool with that. And a tight end, likely Henry Okonkwo. I think a 4th tight end would be good. Doesn't have to be. My daughter asked, why does that guy have a money hat? I told her because it's money time. She says, why does anyone want a hat with money on it? Smarter than her years. The good news, Spurious news, now you know. She won't fall for a man who wears money hats because that's peacocking for the ladies, really. That's why I wear it. You are right. To be clear, I just said retardant. I didn't say the other one. But yeah, apparently it's been 22 years of that word being around, Robert Griffin III. A joke just for you and nobody else. Can you please stop dropping the fucking bone? Can we just hold on to the bone? I feel like she's doing a bit for me and not for you guys, where I have to keep picking up this fucking mangled bone and handing it to her, and then she just stares at it depressedly. All right, Kitty, you gotta move over. Please stop dropping it. I'm gonna beg you. Please stop dropping it. Well, spurious news. We have a very funny household. Luca's got comedic bits. They're not the strongest. They're not, he doesn't follow the rule of 3s and stuff. We've actually, I call him Mr. Penis whenever he's naked running around because, he's Mr. Penis. He just says what he does. And he'll call us stupid names like that. Really funny toddler stuff. Killed it in 3rd graders. Well, what if we could say whatever the hell we want? You know what? Good news, Nolan. I have the clip just for that moment here. I haven't played it in a while.
This is the adult tour, which means you can drink if you want, and we can say whatever the hell we want.
Oh, yeah. Remember when I used to do things like make clips? It was really only when I first got StreamYard and they made this capability happen. I like clips though. I should play more clips, but I'm worried about getting copyright struck because you got to like flip them and stuff. That one I remember I had to do a horizontal flip on it, so would do it without YouTube being an issue. If you drop this fucking bone one more time, dog, I'm gonna drop you. Can I survive a draft room with Kraft, Ertz, and Otten? They all sound like types of cheese. Delicious room. I'm better without the clips. Thank you. I like the clips because it's just the visual aid, but, you know, I appreciate the sentiment. All right, last tight end here. Tight end 4. Cole Kmet, Will Dissly. We got our pick of all the Chargers guys. Gatson went, so we can't take him, but I'm really not buying that hype anyway. I'll stack it up with Herbert. I'll go Will Dissly. Will Dissly commanded a ton of targets last year. One of my fun stats from last season. 24.2% target per out run, 0.22 EPA on those targets, 0.5 red zone targets a game. He effectively was actually pretty good. You have more guys coming in with Gatson and with Tyler Conklin. It's not great for him, but it's round 20. So 3-5-8-4 build here, our final team. We got Justin Herbert, Drake May, Anthony Richardson here because we got him for free, so we took him. At RB, Jonathan Taylor, Kenneth Walker, David Montgomery, DeAndre Swift, and Nick Chubb. A wide receiver, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Zay Flowers, Trey Harris, Jaden Higgins, Quentin Johnston, Pop Douglas, and A.D. Mitchell, Adonai Mitchell, if you want to call him by his formal name. The tight end, Isaiah Likely, Hunter Henry, Chigakonkwo, Will Dissly. Yeah, I think, Chunk, your room is better than this room. Like, that's a viable 3 tight end room. This, I don't think would have been viable with Likely, Henry, and Okonkwo. It would have been, but, like, you like the 4 one. It's a chunky cheese tight end room. Yeah, it's Chuck. We're entertainment. Chuck Entertainment Cheese. The E in Chuck E. Cheese does stand for entertainment. I'm cool with the seam. I think having a better 4 tight ends would have felt nice. I don't know what that would have been. Like getting Juwan Johnson on here, Theo Johnson on here instead of Dissly, I'd have felt better about. But an AR was just pure luxury. Maybe could have done something a bit different with that. But I'm cool with the seam. So that's Drafters for you guys. Make sure to play on Drafters here. We only do 1 draft today, but I will be doing more, of course, all summer long. Play on Drafters, $100 deposit match at drafters.com with the promo code SPLASH. You can also click the link in the description. You can also download the Drafters app, but use that promo code SPLASH. Play on Drafters with us. This is a site, of course, where I finished top 10 last year in playoff basketball, only putting in 3 entries on stream. I finished top 10 in that tournament for a few grand. Also finished top 100 a couple years ago, putting in only 30 entries on stream. And that's what I've had the success with on Drafters. So I'm trying to do more this year for you guys and for myself, because I think it's important to play on these other sites, even though I know Underdog gets the clicks, but Drafters is here for you guys. I'll give you those big money options with 500K up top. Their main event championship tournament this year. Of course, gamble responsibly, guys, even though it is always money time here. Follow me at Chris Spags. Follow the channel at Splash Play Pod. Back on Thursday with more, I think, though. At a certain point, I'm going to probably add a Wednesday stream. Not today. Not tomorrow, but it's going to happen soon. So pay attention for that. And the dog keeps climbing on me. So I'll see you guys again soon. Enjoy your days. Good luck. Here's a shocked Pikachu. And bye-bye.